on Paramount Plus.
I wasn't born a killer. I was made. Learning my code was just the beginning. Bringing it to life for the first time is a whole new story.
Once upon a time, a bunch of teenage girls got stranded in the wilderness, and they went completely nuts.
Yellow Jackets new season streaming February 14th on the Paramount Plus with Showtime plan.
Thank you for joining the Neighborhood Watch meeting.
A quick question. Where will you be watching the NFL playoffs on CBS?
Streaming live on Paramount Plus.
It's not that kind of watch group.
It is now.
Your sports news all the time.
We've got breaking news to bring to you.
CBS Sports HQ gives you a snapshot of all the sports that matter to you.
Big news coming out of the NFL. A lot of movement in the rankings this week.
With highlights.
What a finish at the final round of play.
And in-depth analysis.
Can they three-peat? Tony Romo joins the conversation.
What can you say about this game?
When you need your sports in a snap.
We're bringing you that breaking news right here on HQ.
Find it on CBS Sports HQ. Streaming free anywhere you are.
Hello and welcome to CBS Sports HQ. I'm Hakeem Dermish here to get you set for the College Football Playoff National Championship. We'll take you right up to kickoff in Atlanta. It's coverage you won't get anywhere else with picks and analysis. We've got crews in studio and on the field. Ohio State attempting to march across the field and win their first title in a decade. Notre Dame attempting to wake up the echoes and win their first title in nearly 4 decades. Here's how the Fighting Irish got here. They defeated Indiana in the first round, then beat Georgia in the quarterfinals, followed by a dramatic last-second win against Penn State in the semis. Christian Gray intercepted Drew Aller, and then Mitch Jeter hit the game-winning field goal to send them to the national championship. Head coach Marcus Freeman and the Irish have won 13 straight games since their embarrassing loss to Northern Illinois.
When I think about this journey in this season, you know, there's a lot of gratitude I have to be on this journey with not just the players, but with all the coaches and the staff, the men and women that are involved in our program and the efforts they put into us being in this position. You know, when I think about this last guaranteed one, you know, we started the season talking about reaching our full potential, and we got one guaranteed opportunity to do that. You got a chance to play in a national championship game, and enjoy the opportunity. It's going to be a difficult one. We know that. But listen, go out there and enjoy it. And don't let the things outside of those white lines affect the way you play. Right? And that's probably what's most important. And but I'm grateful for this opportunity and looking forward to it tomorrow.
Like Notre Dame, Ohio State also had an embarrassing loss, falling to Michigan at the end of the regular season. Since then, they've been dominant with wins over Tennessee and previously undefeated Oregon. In the semis against Texas, Captain Jack Sawyer made the play of the game with a strip sack on his former roommate Quinn Ewers, scoop and score 83 yards. It won't matter if they can't finish. Buckeyes head coach Ryan Day knows the challenge in front of them tonight.
This is an excellent team that has you know, just found a way to win week in and week out. They, you know, I think they have over 140 points off of turnovers. They play great in all 3 phases. You talk about offense, defense, and special teams. I mean, these guys are really good on special teams. They keep you on your heels all the time. I mean, they fake punts, they fake field goals, they find different creative ways to get guys in the game. They've done onside kicks, they've done reverses on kickoff return. I mean, they're very, very good in all 3 phases. So it's a big challenge, and really the focus is about executing and you know, making sure that we prepare for this game, not you know, the fact that it's Ohio State versus Notre Dame. Nothing in the past matters, and nothing moving forward matters. I think, though, to answer your question, Doug, you know, the fact that these are both you know, Midwest programs, large you know, fan base, alumni base. You know, have an opportunity to recruit nationally. I think there's a lot in common there, and certainly everybody on our program has a lot of respect for Notre Dame.
Both teams seeking their 9th national title in the AP poll era since 1936. Ohio State chasing its 9th national title overall, first since 2014. Notre Dame chasing its 12th national title overall, first since 1988 under Lou Holtz. And he's going to be there tonight. And he's going to be talking about how Ohio State was soft. And he's going to be talking about how they need to preserve Ryan Day's job. Guess what? It is two of the biggest brands in college football, Ohio State and Notre Dame, and we got our two big brands right here. Two-time Super Bowl champ Bryant McFadden, former Louisiana running back Emory Hunt. And look, before the tournament started, Emory, you had this title game matchup set. You had Notre Dame against Ohio State.
The reason why I was right, I'm always right sometimes, guys. And so I know it don't make sense, but it makes sense. Go home and think about it. Run game, defense is everything that matters in football. The closer you get to the title game, who can run the football, who can play great defense, the deeper you get into the season, who wants to stop the run, who wants to impose their will. Both of these teams always check those boxes, and it's the reason why, whether it's high school football, college football, pro football, whoever can run the ball, play great defense, it will always find a way in the title game.
I'm glad you mentioned that, Emory, because that matters in any level of football, championship football. If you can dominate at the line of scrimmage on either side of the football field, that will put you in positions to close ball games to be able to win. And that's what we're seeing from Ohio State, and the same can be said for Notre Dame. If you look at the strengths for their teams and what they do, running the football has been a big asset for Notre Dame. The same can be said for Ohio State. You look at how dominant their defensive line units have been as well. That's been a telling sign in terms of the success and how they've been able to go about their business. And you better believe when you watch this game tonight, viewers, that will tell you who will win this ball game, who dominates at the line of scrimmage. Trust me.
When Ohio State lost to Michigan, B-Max he texted me, and it was decorum. He didn't say he wasn't kicking them when they were down. He didn't say, man, this is awful. He did say it was pretty bad to lose to Michigan. But he also said this will be a blessing in disguise. Why did you believe that?
Because the way they lost to Michigan, it was an embarrassment.
Yep.
Right? And when you look at what happened leading up to that ball game and what happened after that ball game, everyone was just being critical of Ohio State deserving so. Ryan Day should be fired. The wide receivers were overrated. The defense was underachievers. Nothing was going right. And to lose to that Michigan team that had no pulse at the quarterback position was embarrassing. But one thing I know about the true definition of a champion, they're able to turn embarrassment into praise, in terms of finding a way to make it right. And that's what we're seeing. So when you look at what I meant when I sent that text to Hakeem, was being criticized, they were kicking dirt, throwing dirt on you. Yep. It forced you to do what? Get back to the basics. And because of that loss, you didn't have an opportunity to play in the Big Ten championship game. So you had extra time to prepare and get back to the fundamentals, because you never questioned the talent of Ohio State. We just questioned their ability to live up to the billing. And in that Michigan game, they did not live up to the billing because they were the more talented team with experience, more playmakers, but for some reason they just dropped the ball. But that was the best thing that could happen to them. The same can be said for Notre Dame against Northern Illinois. That was an embarrassing loss, but that kind of woke up the dragon in which we're watching right now for either side.
You buried the lead tremendously, B-Mac, but it sets me up perfectly because remember what was going on at the time of all of this happening, and we saw this a little bit earlier against Penn State. We saw this a little bit against Michigan. It was Will Howard. Everyone was like, man, he has been a bust for Ohio State, because on the other side of the country, you had Kyle McCord at Syracuse playing great balls. Like, wait, we got rid of this guy to bring in this guy. Will Howard has elevated his play here in the postseason. He has been lights out, and I'm not saying that as hyperbole. It's because you're getting great quarterback play from Will Howard. It's allowing those receivers to look like, watch this throw here. This was what I'm talking about. You couldn't have walked down there and handed it to the receiver better. He has two throws like this in the postseason, and when he is locked in, like he was against Oregon, like he did against Texas, this is why this offense had looked like it was supposed to look on paper in the summer.
Yeah, shouts to Kyle McCord at Syracuse. He had a heck of a season. He was in the Heisman Trophy voting. I mean, got one vote at least. And shouts to James Franklin, because he actually angered Marcus Freeman with his comments before their game when he talked about his youthful looks and Notre Dame being an independent. Ryan Day did not do that. Instead, he praised Marcus Freeman. he praised the job he has done at Notre Dame, and he said that everyone respects the fact that he went to Ohio State. Didn't want to stir things up pregame. BMAC, what does it say about Marcus Freeman to get Notre Dame to the title game in just his 3rd season as head coach?
Unbelievable coaching job by Marcus Freeman. And remember, Brian Kelly left Notre Dame because he said of the lack of resources. He wanted to go to a situation where he was set up to really be able to coach a championship-like team. Well, you look at Marcus Freeman, he turned Notre Dame into that type of program. When you look at being a part of the staff, the telling sign for me in terms of if Marcus Freeman was the right hire was the initial reaction of the guys when they saw him walk into the weight room, and they just all applauded him and they wanted to touch him. They wanted to hug him because they were excited for Coach Freeman, but they also were excited to know that he would be the head man in charge moving forward. So that instantly told me he has the locker room. So when a coach has the locker room, he instantly has the respect, and with respect will come execution and being disciplined in what you need to do. And that's what we're seeing. So the relatability that he has with this team has been well documented, not to mention the execution and the ability to adjust. Because if you look at what Marcus Freeman has done throughout this playoff run, of course he took care of his business against Indiana. But then you look at what he did against Georgia. Kirby Smart, the best coach in college football. Let's keep it real. Marcus Freeman outcoached Kirby Smart. The same can be said for James Franklin as well when you look at the second half adjustments that we watched with Notre Dame and Penn State. So he's done a great job, and no question he's a hot name in terms of NFL coaching vacancies because of what he did, what he's currently doing at Notre Dame.
The role of the head coach is to tap into the entire team. And you don't have to be an expert on one side of the football or the other side of football. Oh, he can call plays or he's a wonder kid, X's and O's guy. But you see what has happened in the postseason against Georgia. Their biggest plays have come on defense and special teams. So when you're able to tap into the third element of the game and find those big plays to help you win the game or cross the finish line, that's great coaching. And to your point, BMAC, about how guys welcome him into the facility and welcome them in as the new head coach, that also helps with recruiting, because I know the guys believe in this guy, they want to coach for him, they want to play for him, and that's going to help him expand that recruiting base. They were already a national brand, but there's a reason why since '88 they hadn't won a national championship, because they wasn't getting those Ricky Waters in, they wasn't getting those Rocket Ishmaels in anymore. That was long gone. Now you're going to get those type of guys to come back and play for a Marcus Freeman to go along with what he does to tap into that X factor to help you win these ball games, and that's why he's such a great hire.
Ohio State is 8.5-point favorite in the Natty tonight, one of the largest spreads in national title game history. Notre Dame, though, 11-0 straight up and ATS in the past 11 games. Emery, who are you backing here? Because you're getting 8.5 points, maybe 9 here if the line makes a little movement. One game season, one game scenario, everything on the line. That usually lends itself toward the underdog. They're going to throw the kitchen sink at the favorite. In this case, it's Ohio State. I expect the best of Notre Dame. It is no tomorrow. Your offseason starts tomorrow, so I am taking Notre Dame plus the points here. I think we get a very close, down-to-the-wire national championship game.
You know what? In terms of money, I've been going back and forth because it's hard to really underestimate Notre Dame and Marcus Freeman. But then when I look at this ball game and I ask the question, if both teams played their best ball game, who wins?
Ohio State.
Ohio State.
By 2 touchdowns.
Easily. And that's saying a lot. I don't expect to see both teams play their best ball game. But if you look at it that way, I think we all would pick Ohio State. And here's why. They have more pros. Simple as that. And it's not just about Ohio State having pros, because Notre Dame, they have pros as well. Ohio State they have more high-rounded pros.
First rounders, yeah.
First rounders, right?
Yeah.
And that means a lot in terms of college football, because if you have good coaching along with NFL prospects on a team, 9 times out of 10, that team is going to live up to the billing. And it puts more pressure on the quarterback in Will Howard, because to your point, throughout this playoff stretch, he's been outstanding. He's been out kicking his coverage. If he plays to the level that we've seen so far throughout this playoffs, I believe Ohio State will win this ball game. Not to mention Notre Dame to deal with injuries. Jeremiah Love, he's going to play, but we know he's not 100%. You look at some of the key contributors that won't be in the defense for Notre Dame. That will be a telling sign as well. So I'm taking Ohio State just under the assumption of understanding the pro element that they have. And like I said, viewers, if you ask the people in the living room right now, you guys are watching us, ask everyone in the room, if each team played their best ball game, who's going to win? I think that's a major factor in this ball game, and I'm taking Ohio State.
Yeah, and the question there would be, do you trust Ohio State to play its best ball game? That would be what the people would say.
I don't trust either side because it's very, very impossible in a championship game with so much at stake in terms of college kids for either side to play their best ball game. But if there is a few hiccups here or there, who do you trust to be able to get over that hurdle? I'm trusting the team that has have more NFL prospects.
Well, the average margin of victory in the CFP National title games is 20. So they have not been close. So expect this one to be close, maybe, perhaps, but it hasn't been according to history. Still ahead here on CBS Sports HQ, we will take you to Atlanta, our crew on the field as we continue to get set for the national championship. That's all coming up next on CBS Sports HQ. Keep it locked.
When you're Ohio State, everybody is chasing you because they want what you have. And every week, we have to defend. That's the reason why it's called Ohio against the world. Let me make sure you guys all understand that. It's us against everybody else. We're proud to be from Ohio, and it's always been Ohio against the world, and it'll continue to be Ohio against the world.
Tremendous amount of work to get to this point. But right now it's about right now. Give everything you've got. Everything you got in your heart to this place. Be confident and be aggressive in everything you do.
Getting closer and closer to kickoff at Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta. Buckeyes won the first college football playoff national championship in 2014. Now looking to win the first ever 12-team playoff. Notre Dame looking to win their first natty since 1988 under Coach Lou Holtz, and he'll be there tonight to troll Ryan Day and root for the Irish. Our crew's there on the field in Atlanta.
Richard Johnson, Dennis Dodd, Josh Pate here live from Atlanta. College football playoff national championship game. Fellas, the longest college football season any of us have ever been a part of. Finally, we have come to the end. Dennis, how about the scene here today? Cold outside, heating up in here.
I'm really interested to see in the stands what kind of breakdown there is. I thought early on it was going to be an Ohio State takeover, but lately I see a lot of Irish. It's going to be crazy.
I think what stands out the most is think about, in retrospect, what it was going to take to make it this far. I mean, there are teams that played a conference championship game almost 2 months ago. The longevity you have to have, the gas in the tank you got to have, and we got two that ended up happening here on the field tonight.
Guys, let's talk keys to the game. For me, it's how is Notre Dame going to defend this Ohio State attack? The Irish play a ton of man defense. Well, if you want to come out here and play zone, you better play it effectively. Or what happened against Tennessee, what happened against Oregon will happen to you. Ohio State will take advantage, and they showed last week against Texas that they can beat you even if you take Jeremiah Smith out of the game. Josh, for you, what are the keys to the game tonight?
I think Ohio State's going to go at them early through the air. I mean, they want a quick, decisive blow like they've had a couple of times in the postseason if they can get it. And honestly, I can't wait because I want to see if it's there, because I want to know emotionally, am I going to have to be invested here 4 quarters, or is it going to be like the Oregon game or the Tennessee game? Well, we hope for the former. We'll see if we get the latter. But I don't think either team's backing away from what got them here. It's what I'm trying to say. And that's what a championship game should be.
Richard, I think it's the little things Notre Dame's gotten here with kick returns, defense, interceptions, the little non-offensive touchdowns. A hidden stat in this game. This plays in Notre Dame's favor. The opposing team against Ohio State's offense hasn't been called for holding since September 21st. Ryan Day's going crazy over that. He just wants one of those penalties. So that for an offense that's challenged in this game, if Notre Dame can put this game down in the mud like they have for 3 straight playoff games, third quarter, it's in the 10s or 20s, I think they got a chance.
Stage is set. We're about ready to spot the ball here. Let's pick it real quick. I got Ohio State big, 31-13. I think the Buckeyes roll, and I don't think Notre Dame is built to come from behind. Dennis, how do you see this one shaking out?
I don't think they're built to come from behind, but again, I think Notre Dame's going to be able to dictate tempo, and unless Ohio State changes a lot, they're only averaging 63 plays this season or in the playoff. They've wanted to go slower, so I don't think it's a high-scoring game. Magic number for me is like 24. I think Notre Dame can get there with help. Obviously, Ohio State can get there with help. Ohio State defense comes through in the third quarter, 23-17. Ohio State, so Notre Dame with the number.
I think there's a period of time where we feel it's competitive. I think in the end, Ohio State's just too much. I'm not going to be brave enough to go against them right now. Give me Ohio State to win. I think they'll cover the number eventually, too.
There you have it. Let's kick this thing off. National championship game set to kick from Atlanta.
Men, thank you. Coming up, we go one-on-one with Notre Dame head coach Marcus Freeman, how he led the Fighting Irish to the national championship. That's next on CBS Sports HQ. Back here on CBS Sports HQ, Hakeem Dermish here with you. This is a full circle moment for Marcus Freeman. He's an Ohio native. He was a standout linebacker at Ohio State. He started his coaching career at Ohio State as a grad assistant. Freeman learned from a legend, playing for Buckeyes coach Jim Tressel, who also gave Freeman his start in coaching in Columbus. Now, the two still have a strong bond, but make no mistake, Coach Tressel is a Buckeye first, yet he's rooting for the man, Marcus Freeman, a leader of men. Former Notre Dame star and CBS Sports analyst Aaron Taylor now sitting down with the Notre Dame head coach.
Ladies and gentlemen, the 30th head coach of the University of Notre Dame, Marcus Freeman.
On your introductory press conference, you said, I'm ready. I'm ready to take this team to new heights. Were you as ready as you thought you were?
Definitely not. You know, that's life, right? Is that you learn through experience. But I'm learning every day. Hopefully I'm better tomorrow than I am today, and I'll be better next year than I am right now. But what you want to do is see constant improvement, and hopefully I'm able to continue to improve.
You described this team as gritty. What do you mean by that?
You know what? You never stop. That, to me, is a definition of a gritty group.
I saw that grit right out of the gate on the road in an adverse environment against Texas A&M with a bunch of young bucks up front on that offensive line.
That group has just continued to improve. They've put their own individual goals aside to do what's greatest for Notre Dame in this football program, and I couldn't be more proud of a position group than the O-line. Because of the outcome week one, probably were crowned to be better than what we really were at that moment. Reaching your full potential takes time. There's lessons that only losing can teach you.
From the outside looking in, it looked like that NIU game was a real turning point for this team.
And that's blocked at the line of scrimmage. And the Huskies are celebrating the biggest upset in their school's history.
I remember telling the team in our Monday team meeting after NIU is that this could be the greatest thing that happens to this football program and to this team. More than any schematic thing, I think it was that we had to learn how to handle success. I, as a leader, had to learn how to handle success. We, as a program, had to learn how to handle that. If we can continue to keep the pain and prepare the way we're preparing, you know, it can determine an outcome that we want. Aspire for team glory, and special things are going to happen.
Define team glory.
It's the greatest feeling in the world. It's those moments when the clock says 0 and your team's victorious. Everybody in our program should feel that they got their job done so we could celebrate. That moment in that locker room is something special that takes a lot of hard work to achieve, and that's what team glory is. I think this season is a great reflection of Riley Leonard's progress. He didn't get the spring and summer development that you usually tend to get when you're the starting quarterback. And then, you know, as you go into the first game of the year, he played well enough to help us win. And now he's playing with such confidence, and he is leading this team in a great way. We all know if we win what the future can be. But don't waste time thinking about that. The noise is going to be louder this week than it ever has been. And so we got to continue to double down on our process and understand it's the preparation and the mindset that we have to have for this opponent. If you give more than you take, special things will happen.
Marcus Freeman, a leader of men. Notre Dame was 100-1 to win the national title after losing to Northern Illinois on September 7th. Freeman told his team they'd be thankful for that loss. They said, "What? Coach, what are you talking about?" Turns out he was right. Since then, they've won 13 in a row. Let's get right to the site. Welcoming former Notre Dame star and Super Bowl champion Ryan Harris, who joins us from the press box in Atlanta. He's the radio analyst for the Fighting Irish. And Ryan, good to see you, my friend. You've been with this team since spring. How'd they get here?
They got here by being resilient and accepting reality when it looked them in the face. You kind of heard that in the Marcus Freeman bit earlier. After that terrifying, devastating loss, nobody knew what to do, but Marcus Freeman was accountable. He said first to himself as he told his team, look, it starts with me. I did not get you prepared as a coach, and as players, you have to find out where you can improve. And that's all he asked. He didn't ask them to be national champions week 3. He didn't ask them to be national champions week 5, 7, 11. But he asked them to improve every week. And that commitment to improvement has created the resilience that they will get to put on display tonight.
Marcus Freeman is the first black and Asian American head coach to make the FBS National Championship. When asked about it, he said, quote, "It's an honor, and I hope all coaches, minorities, black, Asian, white, it doesn't matter. Great people continue to get opportunities to lead young men like this," end quote. Ryan, you touched on it there a bit, but what has Marcus Freeman meant to this program, essentially changing the culture there in South Bend?
He's done it relatively shortly, too. I mean, this is a head coach who had no previous head coaching experience, right? Didn't even have a timeline similar to other coaches in terms of getting into his team, bringing his staff in. Marcus Freeman was a defensive coordinator one day, and he has said before, he said, "I don't know if I have a job," the next day. And then Brian Kelly wanted him to go to LSU, but he decided to stay at Notre Dame. And what a huge decision that was for Notre Dame, one of the most visible college football teams in America, to go with an unproven and young head coach. You add the other aspects of the fact that he's an African-American and Asian American. He's an American, and he represents many of the players on his team with his skin color, but he will be able to represent all of Notre Dame tonight. And that's what he cares about. He wants his players to make the most of the Notre Dame experience. I'm not going to lie to you, though, Hakeem, to be here on Martin Luther King Day in Atlanta, it's the story's kind of writing itself.
A powerful moment indeed for Marcus Freeman and what is in store for him tonight. Marcus Freeman told his team, and specifically, he had a meeting with Riley Leonard, as you know about, after the loss to Northern Illinois. Riley comes into the office. He's embarrassed. He says, "Coach, it's never going to happen again." He says, "Hold on, Riley. Just relax. You're going to be thankful for this loss. I'm telling you, you're going to be thankful." Now, that led to the entire team just believing in what was in front of them. Tonight, a huge test. I mean, this is their biggest test of the season against a stout Buckeyes defense led by Jim Knowles. You know how good that defense and what they did against Texas. How can Leonard be successful tonight?
Well, it actually, for me, starts on the ground. He's a great rushing quarterback, and when you use that quarterback as a runner, you actually add a 12th member on the field. Plus, Jeremiah Love, the running back for Notre Dame's often the lead blocker. Why don't you let your running back go hit somebody in the face mask? That's always a good way to start a football game. But he is going to have to make big throws at key points. And maybe he doesn't have the stats like other quarterbacks, but Riley Leonard has the best stats in game time, game-winning moments. He engineered the final drive to get the final points. He made an unbelievable throw throughout the playoffs, but particularly two of them, one to Jaden Greathouse against Penn State and another to Aeneas Williams. He can make every throw on the field. And my old teammate Peyton Manning said he was the best at the Manning Passing Academy, taking what they taught the quarterbacks in the classroom and bringing it to the field. Riley Leonard he came to Notre Dame for this moment, and he's been ready since about 6 a.m. this morning to get this game kicked off.
Yeah, he will have a new left tackle in redshirt freshman Charles Jogg, you saw, making his first start of the season, though he was projected to be the starter before tearing his pectoral muscle during the preseason. Anthony Knapp ruled out because of a high ankle sprain he suffered against Penn State. Ryan, you played offensive line at the highest level. How difficult is this to step into this spot in the national championship?
Well, you're talking about O-line U here, and what we do at Notre Dame is we have offensive linemen who spend a little bit of time in college and then go dominate in the NFL. But Christian Jagasaw is a fantastic player, great size, great hands, and the good news for Notre Dame fans is he got to get in as a guard because of the injuries against Penn State and was a key cog into the rushing attack of the second half that was the difference for Notre Dame in the game. So Jagasaw, it's not like he's coming fresh off of the injury card and into the game. He had some hits. He hit somebody other than his teammates. I think he'll be ready to go and just be the latest member of O-line U to prove to people what's not a problem on the offensive line.
All right, we'll see how it shakes out because he's going to need some. He's going to need to protect Riley Leonard. Notre Dame has watched a bevy of film from Ohio State's loss to Michigan. Of course, that's what you're going to do, right? The last time your opponent lost, what are their tendencies? How can we beat them? Tonight, Notre Dame is an 8.5-point underdog. So, Ryan, what has to happen for the Fighting Irish to pull off this massive upset there in Atlanta?
Interceptions on defense. Will Howard's going to give multiple opportunities for this defense to get interceptions. Texas dropped 3 of them. Notre Dame hasn't dropped 1 all playoffs, and they have to rush the football. No one really tried to run the ball against Ohio State in the playoffs. Oregon couldn't because they were down so early, and Texas didn't because I don't know why. They didn't even start really running till the second quarter. Notre Dame must establish the run. And if they get some turnovers on defense, it's going to be a big night for Irish fans everywhere.
Well, I wish you the best of luck because an Ohio State backer, I wish you luck, my friend. I'm going to see you post-game, win or lose, all right?
You've been the good luck charm this whole playoff ride, Hakeem, so you keep it up for Notre Dame. Go Irish.
Appreciate you. Ryan Harris joining us from Atlanta here on CBS Sports HQ. Ryan's the best. Closing in on kickoff in Atlanta, Ohio State against Notre Dame for the national championship. Who has the edge? We'll break it down next on CBS Sports HQ. News of the day out of the NFL, the Chicago Bears hiring OC Ben Johnson as their next head coach. He spent the past 5 years in Detroit, serving as the Lions offensive coordinator for the past 3. This season, Detroit ranked first in points per game, second in yards per game in the league. He'll be replacing Matt Eberflus, who was fired mid-season after a 4-8 start. For more, here's CBS Sports lead NFL insider Jonathan Jones.
So the real first domino has fallen in the NFL coaching cycle. Not Mike Vrabel and the New England Patriots. We're talking about Ben Johnson and the Chicago Bears. The Bears moving quickly to get their guy, someone that they have watched in the NFC North the last few years really do whatever he wanted to with the Bears. Now they have him on their side. Now they have a guy who can lead Caleb Williams. They know that they have to build around this young quarterback. They're going to bring so much stability to him. Now it's on Ryan Poles, the general manager, to help build that offensive line. They have the weapons, but man, let's go out there and protect the quarterback in Caleb Williams. So they get their guy in Ben Johnson. Everyone in Chicago is happy, and now we're going to start to see more coaching hires start to take place. The next name to be on the lookout for, of course, it's Aaron Glenn with either the Jets or the Saints. We'll see how quickly those two teams can work.
Jonathan, thank you. Ben Johnson becomes the second head coach to be hired, joining Mike Vrabel with the Patriots. One name to watch this week is Lions defensive coordinator Aaron Glenn, set to interview with the Jets on Tuesday and the Saints on Wednesday. Closing in on kickoff in Atlanta, Ohio State against Notre Dame for the national championship. Who has the edge? It is time now to break it down. And back here in the house, certified ball knowers, two-time Super Bowl champ Bryant McFadden and former Louisiana running back Emery Hunt. B-Mac, we talk about the edge, who has the advantage, who's going to have the upper hand in this game. Let's start with the quarterback position. Will Howard, Riley Leonard, one likes to run a lot, one likes to rely on his arm. Who has the edge?
The edge for me is Will Howard, and here's why. He has the luxury of throwing to three pros, and two of them are legit first-round selections in the NFL draft. That's a big benefit to have, especially when you talk about playing in a championship-like game. So I do believe he's under more pressure because of the players he has the luxury of throwing to. But in terms of this matchup, you have to like Will Howard. Not to mention, you talk about in Notre Dame fighting Irish defense that has really been good, but they're missing some guys because of injuries. That could play a part in terms of the success for Will Howard also.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm going with Ohio State because at the end of the day, if your number one option as a quarterback is running the football, let's just say that's great. And Ohio State has a great game plan against your defense or your offense, and they stop your QB run. Now you have to really make plays with your arm. And we know if you stop Ohio State's run game, Will Howard can beat you with his arm. So I would say the edge in this particular matchup, if you're not running a triple option, it definitely goes to Ohio State.
All right, across the board there, Ohio State in favor of the quarterback position. Will Howard's favorite target is freshman Jeremiah Smith. However, he was held to one catch for 3 yards against Texas. Before that, he set a career high with 187 yards against Oregon in the Rose Bowl. Oregon plays man. Texas bracketed Jeremiah Smith, and, well, he issued a warning pregame to the Ducks before the Rose Bowl. If you play man, we're going to take a shot. Well, that's what they did. Smith issued a similar warning to Notre Dame. Take a listen.
My mind says, just to go out there Monday and just dominate the person that's in front of me. Just do what I've been doing for the last 2 to 3 weeks, I should say. But they play man on man, so I'm just ready for the challenge. I got to do what's best for the team. I can't be selfish. We got other guys on the team as well that could do what I could do. But I'm not a selfish player. I mean, I come from humble beginnings, and I'm not just all about me. It's not just all about me. Like, it's about the whole team as well. So, I mean, if I got to be a decoy this game as well, I'm gonna be a decoy. Whatever help us win. All I want to do is win. So, if that's what it takes for me to be a decoy just to win the game, I'll do that. They play man, so I'm just ready for the challenge and just get ready to go out there Monday and just put on a show.
Put on a show was the line there, B-Mac. Notre Dame plays man-to-man defense 80% of the time. Could it be a long night for the Notre Dame defense?
Yeah, potentially. No question. Number one, you got to keep the roof on the house. And when I say that, you cannot allow splash plays from a team like Ohio State, because if that's the case, this thing could get out of hand extremely fast in this ball game. Not to mention when you look at the slew of options for Will Howard. Hakeem, you talked about Texas doing a pretty good job against Jeremiah Smith. They still scored 28 points.
Yep, just Jeremiah Smith wasn't involved.
Yeah,
right.
That's the thing. They have options. So this is a matchup in terms of who has the edge. It's Ohio State. I do believe the consensus would say that even if you're rooting for Notre Dame, if you're being real about this question, you have to take Ohio State because the proof is in the pudding, and that pudding has been very, very good for them.
I love how he was humble. It was like, I'm not perfect, but I'm 99.9%, right? Like, come on, man. Like, of course it's Ohio State.
Yes.
B-Mac touched on it perfectly by saying they have legit pros, and not just guys who's going to find their way on the NFL roster. They have legit first-round picks. And at the end of the day, when you have, we talk about this in the NFL, if you have 3 legit wide receivers, let's say the Bengals, right? You don't have 3 legit corners that can match up. You may have 1 good corner and 2 guys that you're iffy about. They have 3 legit wide receivers. We know Notre Dame is missing their best corner in Morrison. So, yes, this edge is heavily favored for Ohio State.
Do you expect them to take a shot down the field first possession of the game to Jeremiah Smith like they did against Texas, and he missed the catch? It was just a bit overthrown.
Only it depends on what Notre Dame is showing them.
Okay.
If you see single high, I don't know if Will Howard has the luxury of checking to plays, but if you have an opportunity and you see single high with one safety in the middle of the football field, that's a great sign of basically seeing you got one-on-one to the perimeter. Take a shot. I know the great Bobby Bowden used to tell us all the time, in certain ball games, he would tell us what the first play would be offensively. He would let us know, if we get this look, defenders on the sideline, stand up, get ready to cheer, because we're bringing it home. Right? So we used to love that because if we saw single high from the sideline, the offense on the football field, we're all leaving the bench, we're getting ready to stand up because we know we're taking a shot and probably we're going to bring it home. So if you can kind of get that look early, if I'm Ryan Day, let's set the tone because you have pros. Allow these pros to show up big time in the most critical moments of this ball game.
Listen, I will push back right quick because
push back.
I know we do have a fantastic March Madness slate on CBS Sports, right? We do a great job with that. What I hate about March Madness is when that 15th seed comes out and they are a post team, but they want to come out against the 1 seed and shoot threes. That's not your game. So don't take the shot because you may play right to the hand of Notre Dame. Any type of success they can get early, it helps them out, helps out the underdog.
So are you saying that Notre Dame's a 15 seed?
I'm just saying, don't come out here if you ain't shoot that shot yet. Don't shoot that shot, like Patrick Ewing said.
So 2 for 2 right here. Ohio State has the edge at quarterback, at pass catcher. How about the edge at running back? I mean, this is an incredible matchup. Jeremiah Love, Jadarian Price against Travion Henderson and Quinshon Judkins. Emory, advantage who?
Listen, I am all on big running back propaganda. So
I'm glad that the running back is back.
It never left. It never left.
You could argue that it did. Now it's more important.
Because you want to win, right?
I'm with you. I'm not going to disagree with you.
Which is why I like this as a push. I think both teams come in with excellent backs. And if they're healthy, then yes, this is an easy push for me because you have 2 on each side. Now, if you want to add Riley Leonard to that conversation, you could tilt partially toward Notre Dame because he's technically a running threat. But in terms of pure running back position, it is a push. And I'm excited we get to see that tonight on America's National Championship game.
Mr. Hunt, I like where you're going. I see your logic with this being a push, but I disagree. And the reason why I disagree, fellas, is because...
That was a respectful disagree, by the way.
Respectfully. No question, I'm a respectful individual. But the reason why I respectfully disagree is because Quinshon Judkins is a dog. Travion Henderson is an alpha dog. I understand Travion Henderson is RB2, but he, in my opinion, is RB1. They have 2 RB1s in their offense. And another reason why I'm giving Ohio State the edge is because, Emory, think about this. When you play against Ohio State, you have to respect the pass catchers that we've talked about and raved about. Guess who that helps? The running backs. Whoever the back is in the backfield, it helps that guy because now you have favorable matchups in the box. People cannot stack the box against Judkins. They can't stack the box against Henderson. That plays a big part into their success and how productive they can be. So I love Jeremiah Love, especially, you know, when he is healthy. But we also have to factor in, I understand they're saying he's ready to go, but he's nowhere close to being 100%.
Sure, right.
He's nowhere close to being as healthy as possible. The other 2 guys for Ohio State, they're fairly healthy considering where they are at this point in the season. So I give the edge to Ohio State.
Yeah, I mean, you got a guy in Travion Henderson catches the ball in the backfield.
70.
You're going to give it to Judkins at the goal line. Jadarian Price is a bruiser as well.
Yes,
I mean, Jeremiah Love is an NFL talent. This is certainly an intriguing running back matchup. We know that defense wins championships. BMAC can attest to that. This game features the top 2 teams in FBS in scoring defense this season. Ohio State, 12 points per game. Notre Dame, 14 points allowed per game. Maybe you want to take the under, maybe not. Maybe there's going to be fireworks. BMAC, whose defense has the edge? Al Golden and the Fighting Irish or Jim Knowles and the Buckeyes?
Coach Knowles. I'm taking the Buckeyes, and here's why. With Notre Dame, respectfully, they've been outstanding, especially in red zone. They've been really, really good. I love how they tackle. But, Emory, you talked about them not having their top cover corner in the secondary. We can't forget about their best defensive tackle as well. They're missing major contributors in this ball game, but they've been able to find a way to win and be productive. With Ohio State, let's start with the front. JT and Captain Jack. 2 outstanding edge rushers that do a great job in putting pressure on opposing quarterbacks, but let's not forget about what they do in run support as well. Well, I talked about what Jack Sawyer does in setting the edge. The same can be said for JT. You look at the studs they have on all 3 levels of their defense, NFL prospects as well, and they kind of get overlooked. And it's hard to say that because their numbers have been phenomenal. But when we talk about
32 takeaways.
State, 32 takeaways, only allowing, 12 points. Outstanding.
32 takeaways for Notre Dame, so they're still getting it done, and they allow a very low completion percentage, 51%. That's also best in FBS.
Yeah, but when I'm talking about with Ohio State, I mean, they're allowing, what, 12 points a game?
Yeah, and they're active as well.
They're tops in the red zone efficiency. But when we talk about Ohio State, the first thing we mention is what? Offense, the pass catchers, you know, the running backs. But their defense is legit as well, and they're healthier. I think that's a big-time part in determining which side you're favoring, Ohio State and Notre Dame. But, Hakeem, you're right. Notre Dame has done a phenomenal job. But when you look at Ohio State being healthier with some of the guys that I mentioned, I'm taking the edge to Ohio State.
Defense is about attitude and want to. And I know they're missing some of their top guys, but what you guys are talking about sounds like a lot of ones and twos. And if you're talking about one defense, two defense, number one defense in this category, two defense in that category, sounds like a push to me because these are both great defenses. And what I like about Notre Dame, despite some of their misses, is the fact that they play great team defense. And they have a great sense of timing, which doesn't show up in the stat sheet where we talk about that Georgia game. Georgia's driving down the field and boom, TFL, fumble recovery for Notre Dame. And think about what that defense, without their top defensive lineman, their top corner, did against Georgia. Yes, it was Georgia, but we saw this team do great things without some of their best guys. To me, that's telling me they have great depth and they have great team defense. Ohio State's defense has gotten it together in the postseason, so they're playing their best ball at the right time. So I say it's a push. It's a good answer, too, by the way. You don't have to retort.
They both, by the way, they both have a captain named Jack. Captain Jack Kaiser for Notre Dame and Captain Jack Sawyer.
Yeah.
I'm giving. They're both great leaders.
This is what I want. Those are analytics I like.
I mean, they got guys that run this defense, and they're both super talented. Look, I have to take. You know that I'm a biased Ohio State fan, but at the same time, when you look at Ohio State's defense, it's ferocious. Notre Dame's defense, it's nasty. Which one am I taking to a dog fight? Ohio State's got more dogs. You remember that Coastal Carolina head coach? We got a bunch of cats in here. I need more dogs.
Yeah.
Ohio State's, as you said, they got more dogs.
They got first-round picks.
And the thing that we have to understand about football, when you get in playoff football and championship-like football, those backups that have been playing fairly well, it's hard to ask them to live up to the billing. Yeah. Prime example, let's go to the NFL. Detroit. All the backups they've been asked to play in meaningful games. You get to a championship-like opportunity, it's tough. It's tougher. And to your point about what Notre Dame did against Georgia, Georgia don't have the wide receivers that Ohio State has.
I left that part out.
Yeah,
it didn't help
you left that out on purpose to prove your point.
Exactly.
But we can't.
That's
we
great
can't
argument.
do that.
That's great debate skills.
It was trying to help yourself, but you got to still prove your point, even if it goes my side. That's okay.
You just leave it out.
All right, so we got a couple of pushes here, and we got one-sided Ohio State having the edge here. How about the coaching matchup? Ryan Day 2-0 against Marcus Freeman. Met the regular season in 2022, 2023. You remember the last game when there was only 10 men on the field for Notre Dame. Lou Holtz said, "You guys are soft." Ryan Day came post-game, says it's Ohio against the world. There was this feud between Ryan Day and Lou Holtz is going to be there tonight. He's there to troll Ryan Day, to root on the Irish. It's going to be incredible. Ryan Day or Marcus Freeman, B-Mac, who has the edge?
I'm taking Marcus Freeman, guys. The job that he's done, basically doing more with less, has been outstanding. Like, we talk about the adjustments, you know, in-game adjustments. He's been phenomenal. You know, if you look at what he's done throughout this playoff run, especially playing against Georgia, you know, the Goliath of the college football, and just making sound adjustments and how well they've done on special teams and making adjustments in second-half football against Penn State, and doing so with injuries to your key guys, you know, not having a healthy Jeremiah Love and still finding ways to get things done, missing guys on the defensive side and still finding ways to get things done. He's been doing more with less, and he's really outkicked his coverage in terms of the expectations set for Notre Dame coming into this collegiate football season. So he's won me over. I mean, when you look at Ryan Day, he has the luxury of having NFL minds on his staff, which is a big-time plus. But in terms of what I've seen from Marcus Freeman, his ability to get his team to buy in and then finding ways to have these kids execute and sustain that for a full length of a season and make the sound adjustments, I'm taking Marcus Freeman.
I think they both go about their business successfully in a different way. They both found that way of success. Freeman, to your point, and how he found his success And for someone like Ryan Day, being able to identify talent, he was able to go and get the quarterback that he specifically wanted that has got him to this point, and also being able to understand how to galvanize his guys when they got punched in the mouth by Michigan. So he was able to really rally the troops and get them to this finish line here against Notre Dame. And Marcus Freeman has done a great job taking this national brand and making it a powerhouse once again. And deep down inside, I'll say it here on the Columbia Broadcast Station, I think Lou Holtz actively, quietly roots for Ohio State because that's the only reason.
Well, he helped Ohio State win a national championship.
That's the only reason why we keep bringing him up.
But he also helped Notre Dame win a national championship as a head coach.
But that's why we always bring up Lou Holtz, because he won the last championship in '88. So if Marcus Freeman wins this tonight, we won't talk about Lou Holtz again.
Nah, we'll still talk about Lou Holtz.
Wait a minute. So which side are you taking? You didn't give us an edge.
You getting a push?
I said push.
Another push?
Another push?
Another push.
This is an even game. Like, I'm surprised you went with Ohio State.
The spread doesn't say it's even,
so
but
even.
It's fine. You could go with a push.
It's a push. They both great coaches.
I mean,
you got to give our viewers something. You just can't say push. We had 5 categories and 4 of them you said push.
Because that's how evenly matched the games are.
I think he said 2 pushes.
It felt like 4.
This is a good championship game.
He's pushing running backs.
I'm giving the facts.
And pushing head coaches.
Give them the facts, man. Like, they're here for a reason. Great coaching. Great play.
I like that you're pushing him around, though.
Who?
Like the BMX pushing you around a little bit. Now you can punch back in the next segment, because we got much more ahead here. We're going to prop it up. The props to target for the national championship. BMAC and Emery back to deliver their winning wagers.
He can't give us a push for this one.
This is CBS Sports HQ. Keep it locked.